Please click on the subscribe button so you get notified when the latest content drops. Now, let's kick it.
So the Chicago Bears have fired their head coach, Matt Eberflus. Yesterday, the Chicago Bears faced off against the Detroit Lions in Detroit and had been shut out in the first half, 16-0, and in the second half mounted a miraculous comeback, bringing the game back to 20-23, shutting them out in the fourth quarter and only allowing 7 points in the second half. With that being said, the Chicago Bears were driving in the final minute of the game. They had the final possession of the game. They had a timeout left with under 30 seconds, and they got a deep completion. Matt Eberflus, or the coaching staff for the Chicago Bears, more specifically Matt Eberflus, had a brain fart, had a debacle, and didn't call a timeout. I guess he was saving it for them to get closer, but Caleb had no sense of urgency. He was trying to get everybody organized, get everybody down there, and basically snapped the ball with under 10 seconds left, threw an incomplete pass down the field, and that was the game. Now, I don't know if that falls on Caleb because he's a rookie quarterback, but come on, Madden, like, you got to know, if you're the quarterback, you got to know where the clock is, and you got to know, like, everything. And if you see that your head coach isn't helping you, you got to take something into account. He could have probably called the timeout because he is a captain on the team. He didn't. Blew the game. We're not going to put it all on Caleb because Matt Eberflus is a losing head coach. He doesn't have a winning record. Yes, the team looked like they played well towards the end of the year last year, but I personally believe that was thanks a lot in part because of Justin Fields. We've seen what Justin Fields has been able to do with a competent coaching staff and a good defense in Pittsburgh with Mike Tomlin, even though Russell Wilson right now is the quarterback for them. Caleb had a tremendous second half. He played well. He looks like there's definitely hope there. Next year, what will the Chicago Bears do? Well, I was originally thinking that the Chicago Bears would go after Cliff Kingsbury, especially after the hot start that Jaden Daniels came into the league with this year for the Washington Commanders, and because he had the opportunity to join the Chicago Bears coaching staff, and they didn't go for him as an offensive coordinator, but because of the familiarity there, because Caleb was at USC, he was and Cliff Kingsbury was the offensive coordinator for USC while he was in college. I wouldn't be surprised if the Chicago Bears offer Cliff Kingsbury the job. It's clear that Cliff is not going to leave the Washington Commanders position as the offensive coordinator for another OC job, especially if they're compensating him well enough over there. So I wouldn't be surprised if, in order to lure him away from the Commanders, they offer him the head coaching position. He's been a former head coach. By all intents and purposes, the reports that came out about Kyler Murray as the quarterback there have been backed up. Maybe he deserves another opportunity, and maybe that's in Chicago with Caleb Williams. Now, if it's not Caleb, Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator for the Texans, even though the Texans have taken a step back this year. I think that's in part because of a lot of injuries on the offensive side of the ball, and because in all fairness, CJ Stroud, it's his second year in the league. There's a lot of tape out on him. He's still learning how to read defenses. He's still developing, and Bobby's helping out the Texans tremendously. I still think the Texans are going to make the playoffs. The Texans are that good. Another option would be Ben Johnson, the Detroit Lions offensive coordinator. We see how tremendous that offense is for the Detroit Lions. They put up a 50 burger, I think, twice this year. And it's a well-oiled machine. They have two premier running backs. They have two stellar wide receivers. They have a great tight end in Sam Laporta, and they have a competent quarterback in Jared Goff. They have a strong offensive line. The offensive line this year for the Chicago Bears has been a little bit atrocious. And I think Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions, if given the opportunity to be a head coach, might be able to turn around the Chicago Bears franchise, who have been struggling to find any offense in, I think, their entire franchise existence, to be completely honest. I think Cutler is still their franchise leading quarterback in a lot of stats. And I think Caleb has the potential to surpass Jay Cutler. He just needs the right head coach. And I don't think going for another defensive-minded head coach is the way. Matt Nagy, when he was the head coach of the Chicago Bears, got them to the playoffs and got the most out of Mitchell Trubisky. I still think if he had been allowed to be the head coach for Justin Fields, he probably could have helped out Justin Fields tremendously in his development. But with that being said, he's not there anymore. And I think they should go back and pivot back to an offensive-minded head coach, and especially if it's one of those three options. I'd be surprised if they don't go for Cliff, especially because of the familiarity there, because he knows the NFL game. He's been the head coach of the Arizona Cardinals. He has a stacked resume, and I think that would be the perfect fit for Chicago. Now, it might be that Cliff doesn't want to be a head coach again, and if that's the case, you go for Ben Johnson or Bobby Slowick. Just saying, Chicago, there's a chance next year, baby. I'm just saying, especially because you guys got a good running back in DeAndre Swift. You guys have great offensive wide receivers in Romeo Odunze, who's going to take a step forward next year. DJ Moore, who's going to be back, and I think Keenan Allen is still under contract. So, Bears, your move. I hope Ryan Poles makes the right move for you guys.
Guys, have you heard? Shady Mob Productions is an official affiliate of HBO Max. Click on the link in the description and sign up so you can watch hit series like Hard Knocks, Game of Thrones, and House of Dragons. Also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can be notified when the latest content drops.